Hello, welcome back. All right, we are continuing our work with midsegments. If you have not watched video 1, which defines a midsegment and then defines the midsegment conjectures, then pause, go ahead over to this link, and then come on back. All right, now that we're all on the same page as promised, here are some problems that use our midsegment conjectures. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem. Here we have a triangle, and we have a piece of given information that DE is the midsegment of triangle ABC. And then our question is to find the perimeter of DECB. All right, so let's go ahead and use what we know. If this is a midsegment, we know it connects the midpoints. So if this is the midpoint of AB, then if AD is 4, then we also know that DB is 4, and we are part of the way to finding our perimeter. We've already got that this side is 5. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's do the same thing. If this is a midsegment, it connects the midpoints, which means if this is 3, this is 3, and now we have a final side to find, BC. So we'll remember that the mid-segment theorem conjecture says that this is 1/2 the third side. So if this is 5, 5 is half of, yep, that's right, 10. And now we have all 4 sides to find our perimeter. So our perimeter is 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 10, and a little bit of mathing lets us know that that is 22, and that is the answer to our question. Okay, let's take a look at a second problem. So we have triangle ABC, and this time we have no givens outside of what's in the picture. So let's check out our picture. Well, we can see that this side is equal to this side. This side is equal to this side. I should be saying segment. This segment is equal to this segment. That means that's a midpoint. That's a midpoint. That's a midpoint. That means that's a midsegment. That's a midsegment. That's a midsegment. All right. So that's what we can glean from our pictorial givens. And now let's go ahead and throw those markings in. So we know that this right here is 1/2 of this, which means this is the side that gets marked with 1. And this is half of this. So this is the side that gets marked with 3. And this is half of this. So this is the side that gets marked with 2. And now we have our 4 congruent triangles. All right, now we see hidden in here is our question, our X. How many degrees is this bit? And there are a ton of ways to figure this out. So this is just one path of many, but here's what I see. I notice I've got this 23 hanging out in the corner here, and I know that this is parallel to the base here. So if I follow this transversal up these 2 parallel lines, I see that this 23 is going to be the same as that angle right there, that those are going to be corresponding angles. So I'm going to pop a 23 in right there. Now I notice that I have 2 of the 3 angles in a triangle. So I can go ahead and find my third angle, right? That's going to be 180 degrees minus 105 minus 23, which equals 52 degrees. So I know that this one right here is 52 degrees. Now I've got all 3 angles in the triangle, so I just need to figure out which one is my X. My X is the degree measure sandwiched between 2 and 3. So when I go up to this triangle, I see there's my 2, there's my 3, and the angle sandwiched between those is the 52 degrees I just found. So the answer to this question is that X equals 52 degrees. Finally, let's take a look at one in a trapezoid. And apologies, I didn't measure this midpoint quite right, so this side doesn't look quite parallel, but let's go with yes, it is. All right, so we have our trapezoid. How do we know? We see 2 parallel sides and 2 that aren't. We have our mid-segment. How do we know? We see that this equals this, and we see that this equals this. And so then we can see that they would like us to tell them the base angles of our trapezoid. So let's go over here first. I've got X, and I can see again, I've got my parallel bases, which means that along this transversal, the X and the 68 are both in corresponding positions. So my first piece of information is very easy. My X equals my 68 degrees. Okay, now over here, I need my Y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the number I've got into my picture now. That was a little ugly, but there it is. So my Y is part of a trapezoid, and any 4-sided figure adds up to 360 degrees. So I've got 2 of them. I need that 4th. Can I get the 3rd? Well, sure. I've got the rule of 180 waiting right there for me to use. So 180 minus 68 equals 112 degrees. And now I can put that all together and say 360 minus 112 minus 68 minus 102 equals 78 degrees. And so that's my final missing thing. So Y equals 78 degrees. Now, there's another way I could have done this as well, which is if I remember that here's a transversal to these 2 parallels, and the same side interiors add up to 180 degrees, I could have done it that way as well. I could have said 180 minus 102 and gotten my 78 that way. So many ways through a geometry problem, and the more tools you gather, the more different options you have for how to solve. But those are 3 different problems that use the 3 different conjectures that we just learned about mid-segments. So play around with those, make up some more problems for yourself, and as always, keep mathing.